But all concrete, stucco is a product of concrete, essentially cement. It's going to crack, just part of the nature of the beast. If you have a concrete that isn't, then you had a very good concrete installer, someone that did a very good job. But most concrete will crack. Hairline cracks are pretty typical to see in stucco. It doesn't necessarily mean the building's bad. But if you see, again, widening, or if you see areas where, well, it's hairline, but wow, it gets maybe a quarter an inch or something, that's not a good sign, again, or differential. Same thing with sidewalk patio concrete. Cracks in a slab, you can see the stem walls. Again, if there's no movement, if it's just a crack, maybe hairline, eighth of an inch, and it hasn't really moved, and it's 20, 30 years old, it's probably original construction concrete crack. Yes?
Does Thomas Brothers still publish the geologic map, for earthquake faults and soil areas? They used to have that. Do they still do that?
The California Geologic Survey, some of the maps I kind of show you, they actually publish most of the maps. I don't know if Thomas Brothers, they may have gotten their database and put them on and then sold them. Could be, they may be. That could possibly be.
Did you get them online?
You can get a lot of these maps online. If you go to, it's again the California Geologic Survey. It used to be called the Divisions of Mines and Geology, but they changed their name, so it's now the California Geologic Survey. And I don't know what their website. I'm sure you can Google them, and they do have their maps available.
How do you treat sulfur that's gotten into cement walls?
Once it's in there, there's not a lot you can do. But what you can do is try to prevent more from getting in.
Right.
So you really want to block off the drainage. You can, like in that one photo I showed, that was actually a masonry fence that someone had actually put a planter wall on one side, and they put all this soil in. Right. But they didn't waterproof that side of the wall. So what's happening is all the irrigation was coming through and it was just washing the sulfites right into the wall. So you can waterproof that. If you're going to put a planter, waterproof it. That way, it stops the flow of the water. And once you stop the flow of the water, the sulfate can't get physically inside the concrete.
Here's a general question: do most of the beach cities now require soil testing and all that prior to construction?
They all do.
Yeah, I can't
remember
mean
to interrupt him, but that's pretty accepted standard now. That's why you get the soils test, and then the city, you design the foundation according to the type of soil you have.
Yeah, and
even in Torrance too, and all that.
I think most building departments are, depending on the type of modification you're doing, but usually any new additions, they'll require soils reports, things like that. Yeah.
Does your company actually go out and do red tags like Martin Associates, that sort of thing? Or
typically red tags are done by the structural engineer.
Okay.
So they're looking at the structural the stability of the building. Any other questions? One more?
Once you have that salt content or whatever it is in the concrete blocks, even if you cut off the water, the source of the water, will it continue to decay?
No, again, it's a chemical reaction. So what happens is the sulfate that's in there will react with the concrete it's in tune with, but if you can cut off more sulfate from getting in, then you pretty much stop that deterioration.
All right, I think the gentleman knows his stuff. We appreciate that. Bring any cards or?
I do. I have some cards.
Yeah.
And pens. Everybody has a pen.
When everybody has his pen, I think everything was 10. And Kurt, can you steal back my?
Oh, I think. We're getting somebody to do it.
Yeah. Well, I'm going down there today.
Mark of a guy who knows this topic thoroughly is somebody who can explain it to people that
Don't have.
background that we all have, which is very little. So I'm not sure about the rest.